when you expect a spouse to pay for something that they didn't make the decision on. But you're saying, hey, you're supposed to pay for it because you're the man. I think probably this affects men much more than women. If you're new here, we want to welcome you. We have been through all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Both Dee and I have been in blended families.
Yes, we were the children of divorced parents, and we both have been divorced ourselves.
And in the divorced parents, both of our parents remarried. So we had stepbrothers and sisters, if you call that stepbrothers and sisters, siblings by marriage. We've also had half brothers and sisters,
Yes.
what people would call half, which
Yes.
is siblings by one parent. And then when we became adults, our previous marriage, we were divorced. And then we had a blended family in those marriages.
And we have children together as well.
Yeah.
So we have the whole gambit.
Yeah, and we understand. And this can be a kind of difficult road. And sometimes you feel like you're alone when you're on the blended family journey. But there are resources out there. We're here for you. And we want you to know that you're supported and loved. And we're just going to get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So the first thing that you want to avoid in blended families.
You want to avoid putting your children's responsibilities on your new spouse. And that's a big thing.
Yeah,
when you first get married, it should be a joyous thing. And when you just right off the bat start saying, well, now you got to do this, that, and the other, and you're putting all of your responsibilities on your new spouse.
We're talking about financial responsibilities.
Financial responsibilities, the responsibilities of your children on this person. Now, we know that they may have signed up to be a stepmother or stepfather to your children, but right off the bat, telling them you need to handle this, that, and the other, that's a bit overwhelming at times for people.
And I think it's the attitude, like you said, that you have to do it.
Yeah.
And not like a request or something that was discussed, because like you said, can be overwhelming for a person and you can start building a wall of resentment.
Yeah, I think the spouse can have a wall and also the child.
Yeah.
And so,
especially if it causes a rift between you and your spouse and the child feels it or hears it and they know it's because of spending money on them.
And one thing you should know is that children hear and see everything in the house. Even if they don't say it, they do hear, they see things, and they may not say it to you, but they're a part of that household and the energy that you're putting out in that household.
Right.
So I think you've experienced that before, right?
Yeah. I think we talked about it in one episode when my dad paid for something that he didn't discuss with my stepmom for me.
Ooh.
And she was very upset, not because she didn't want to spend the money, but he didn't tell her. And I heard that conversation and I was just like, Dad, I don't even want to be a part of it. And it caused a lot of hurt feelings. And so in that case, he wasn't putting it on her. He was kind of excluding her from the finances, where the finances were going to go. And we talked about that in another podcast.
He didn't make her a part of the decision-making process.
Right. Which is kind of like the opposite effect of it, because sometimes one spouse can assume or expect that the other spouse, who's the non-biological spouse, to pay for everything. And that can include student loans for adult children, daycare. It can go to a vehicle for the teenage child. It can go for sports for a middle school child.
Or ballet.
A trip.
Yeah, ballet, slippers and all of the outfits.
Really expensive things.
Yeah, cheerleading.
Especially if the child wasn't participating in certain things before. And then now that you're remarried, you expect the spouse to now elevate the child to 5 activities now or something. That is a touchy subject and we want to avoid that.
Well, this is where you have to have discussions. You have to talk about things and you have to agree upon things.
Right.
So you're having the discussion and you're coming to a mutual agreement on this is what we're going to do in our household.
Right.
And it's between the two people who are married in this household.
And remember, with remarried and blended families, you want to show compassion and you may have to do more role playing where you are in other people's roles.
Yes.
Is that the right word?
Well, basically, you want to see how it feels to be in their shoes, because you want to be sensitive to how they may feel. Everybody's new at this in your house. and they're all coming together, you don't automatically want to say, well, we're all one big happy family right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. You have to be able to learn each other.
And with a big shift in finances for someone, like with anything, let's say you're driving and then your car breaks down, or you get a flat and now you have to replace all your tires or something like that, right? Any like shift that is substantial, it doesn't make you feel good sometimes, you know, like you're like, man, now I have to shell out hundreds of dollars to
And I would also say, as a man, what if you have one child and now you're married and you have 4 children? That's a big economic change for a man, and you're paying child support.
Yeah, and especially if it's expected, not asked.
Exactly.
It wasn't talked about.
It's the intent of the other spouse, how they communicate with you regarding this situation. If they feel and understand that we both had 1 or 2 children, now together we have 4 and 5, if they're insensitive, then that causes the rift or the problem.
And then another thing you have to talk about, when you expect a spouse to pay for something that they didn't make the decision on. And so that would be like maybe an extracurricular activity or a trip or whatever. You did not let that spouse know that this is what we want to do, but you're saying, hey, you're supposed to pay for it because you're the man. I think probably this affects men much more than women.
It sounds like it from what you just said, because telling somebody, hey, you're going to pay for this, and I made this decision with my ex-spouse or with the child or both of them. Now you're the one who's going to finance this project.
Yeah, you're footing the bill.
Yeah, it's like, nah, that's not going to work.
That's not how you want to approach the blended family.
Well, it causes problems between the man and the woman. And so now the entire family is going to feel that.
Yeah.
And you don't want that in your new marriage.
You don't want that. You can have whatever arrangement that suits your marriage. Like, let's say the husband wants to handle all of that. That's fine. And then there may be a situation where you guys split it somehow, or you'll use child support to do that, or you'll do whatever arrangement that will work for you. That's what you want. You want in blended family, when finances come in, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah. Well, I hope that the child support will be used for the child. So that actually would help the new remarried family.
If I came to you and I said, honey, you know, I have my son, he's into football and football is really expensive. So I'm going to handle that because I get the child support for that. If you could just help us with the trips to the games, that's really all of the extra financial burden, I would say, or responsibility that I want to put on you.
So basically it's just, you know, making sure that I'm available and spending time with that child, spending time with my spouse, and bonding. So really it's the bonding process for that.
Ultimately you want to bond and you want to have patience with the timing. Give your spouse a little grace when it comes to
responsibilities,
adding the financial responsibility right away.